think, Alyssa, in your remarks, you talked about remaining challenges and that the work is not done. And you, Emery, as well in your remarks. And so my question to all three of you really is, do the TPP 24 go far enough in terms of setting an international standard? And so what would you see as the biggest remaining challenges? And I'll highlight one of them that's received a lot of attention. I had a question in the, that was directed to Ambassador Holloman, and that is the carve-out of financial services as an area of continuing work and challenge. But there are others, and that is, you know, for example, the ongoing challenge of do the principles and rules adequately handle the challenges of cloud services, big data, Internet of Things. So just be interested in the thoughts from the three of you on, you know, what remains to be done.
So, yeah, there is definitely more work to be done. I think that, and that's not to disparage what has been done. I think, you know, again, TPP is a huge, huge step forward on digital. But to go to, on financial services and cross-border, I think that, you know, again, I think that some of the outcome in TPP reflects what I was describing earlier about, you know, instead of sort of just being, you know, exporting our own good domestic ideas, we were confronted with these policies overseas and trying to figure out how to, you know, respond to that by addressing the trade barrier and creating new disciplines that reflect a principle that we have here in the free and open internet. It's not, you know, it's not enshrined anywhere. So there's a sort of education process that we have to go through as policymakers to make sure that, you know, we understand what we mean by free and open internet. So I think that you know, that process really started in TPP, but it's, you know, there's more to do. You know, other areas where I think, you know, we're going to continue to have a conversation inevitably, and it won't surprise anyone. But you know, in the IP space, I think there's more conversation to be had. And you know, frankly, we see companies are changing. We see that the economy is changing. Digital is impacting, you know, many different companies in different ways. And so it is almost a certainty that, you know, whether it's TTIP or TISA, by the time we get to the, you know, end game, we're going to have another set of issues on our plate.
So there's always unfinished business, and you can always do better. You can always get clearer provisions. You can always do things, but I think the real question is a little different, which is, have we begun to tackle the market access barriers that will pose the greatest challenges in the coming decades? And I think we have. I think, as I was saying earlier, we have expanded the definition of what we consider to be a market access barrier, so we can now have a real conversation within a trade context, whether it's about data flows or encryption or security or privacy or a variety of other issues that are going to be what I believe to be the principal foundations for disguised restrictions on trade in the coming years. And again, privacy is an interesting subtext in all this. So I do mean to mention Jonathan McHale is here, and kudos to him for having done a magnificent job, so thank you. But the reason why Jonathan comes to mind is because I know how much he struggled with the issue of privacy and how to thread the fact that we don't have baseline legislation with the fact that others do, and how do you create disciplines in that environment. So as we look forward, to me it's less about what the trade agreement could have done, but what it set the foundation for, and it provides a launching point for some really important and difficult conversations we'll have in the coming years.
I think we are very proud of the progress that's been made, collectively very proud of the progress that's been made towards these next generation of barriers. Alyssa raises issues that, as Emery said, we will be debating for a while. I think there's two categories of things I would add. One is, I do think we are keenly interested in sort of the technical evolution that's happening out there. Internet of Things, you mentioned, is a great example. we just actually released a request for comments about the Internet of Things, the Commerce Department, earlier this week, and our sense is that there will be, that there are continuing to be major dynamics in the marketplace that are going to create new issues. Internet of Things is a great example, in standards and privacy and security that may need our attention in this context. The second one I'll say is, I do think this is more of a process issue, but I have to say, I think this round has given us more room to think about, or more reason to think about, how we reach these agreements and the difficulty that we have and the disconnect in the kinds of transparency that I think people expect in the internet universe today, and what we're capable of in in the structures that we have for how we negotiate agreements. It's an extremely difficult problem, but I would just say we are sensitive to the concerns that have been raised by consumer groups and others about how we can do a better job. I think we just live in an age where people expect instantaneous access to information and information about what their government is doing, and so we're going to have to find ways. And I know that there's keen interest in finding ways. It is a really difficult problem, but that's another thing we're going to have to work on.
Want to open up questions